Good day, everyone. We are having everyone join. I'll give it about one more minute. We still have a lot of people coming in to join, but we will go ahead and get started very soon with our webinar discussing how the cloud drives more efficient hospitality operations. So just a few moments and we'll get started. If you do have any questions at all during this time, there is a Q&A option. You can go ahead and choose that Q&A and put that question in. We'll save some time at the end to go back and answer your questions. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining our Shiji Buzz today. Today, we're joined by three industry experts. We have Tobias Keller from the CCO of Big Mama Hotels, Florian Tennis, the Global Lead Travel and Hospitality Partners at Amazon Web Services, and Anthony Hunt from Shiji, our Vice President of Product and Strategy. To get this started off, I wanted to pass it over to you, Florian, to ask, what is the role of the cloud and how do you approach it in your field?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's a great way to start. So first of all, thanks for having me, Jay. The short and simple answer is you can think about the cloud as the Lego bricks to build every possible digital solution for every common use case in your industry. So let me step back and explain what the cloud computing is then in that context. It's like similar to flip a switch to turn on the lights and the power company sends electricity. With cloud, the cloud provider, we manage and maintain the IT infrastructure in a secure environment. And the customer, in this case, yourself as a partner, Tobias, can access these resources via the internet to develop and run your applications.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Tobias, what about you? How do you see it affecting your business?
Well, the cloud brought a lot of enrichment to our business. I think if I think back to the time when I started in the hotel, it was in the mid 2000s when I first entered as employee at a hotel, and I was given a tour. We came across a large room with full of servers and electricity and 2 or 3 IT managers running the whole business. And they were explaining me how difficult it is, especially on the weekends when big groups arrive, how everything sometimes crashes and how they have to take care of it and so on. And if I look at our setup at the moment, where we basically switch on the computer from wherever we are, be it in Berlin, Leipzig, or in, on holidays or on vacation on Hawaii, I can still see what's happening in the hotel and do my business basically. So this has been a great way of how we can do things now. And looking at the customer side of it, I guess there's a lot of things that are possible now that, people might have thought of 10, 20 years ago, but now they're actually capable of doing this.
Thanks, Tobias. And Anthony, what have you seen in the industry as has changed and as you see the cloud coming, and what do you see coming next as it's coming?
Yeah, hi, Jay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. The position that I'm coming from representing Shiji is what were we thinking 6.5 years ago when we looked at architecting a cloud hospitality solution. What did we want to do? The objective really was to have a global reach capable enterprise application that would deliver the feature functionality to the business around the guest as a single global guest, which could be shared worldwide, and all the data points accessed by different consumers, whether they're internal or external API providers. So this created this greenfield opportunity to rewrite what I had been doing for the last 35 years, using pure new stack cloud architecture. So this event-driven solution with 40-odd microservices allowed us to create something brand new for hospitality, which could be consumed by global accounts, regional accounts, or other clusters of properties who wanted more than just a simple PMS, but more of an enterprise platform that could deliver deeply and richly into the guest loyalty, redemption, rewards, recognition, finance, and all of those myriad of services that hospitality provides, but from a cloud perspective with global reach and no barriers. That was the idea. And we've been able to partner with great cloud service provider here on the call with us today to deliver what we developed in conjunction with their awesome capability to have this worldwide global edge reach high performing solution. That was the mission. And we're still obviously busy executing that, and excited now to be in market with 20 odd hotels on 3 different continents.
And Florian, as the great partner that Anthony was talking about, the AWS services bringing together the customer experience. I mean, Tobias touched a bit upon how it's just changed their operations, but how do you see all those AWS services bringing it together?
Yeah, I want to be vocally self-critical because it can sound all very easy, right? And we're working backwards from customers. The one thing we understand is whilst we have a definition, the cloud can mean many things to many people, and can actually, since the time Tobias started to experiment, a lot of things have happened. At AWS, we have now over 200 fully featured services. So if you ask me straight up, I would say it's not that easy. So we have to find a way. And customers tell us they want us to make the cloud easier. So we're possibly already in the 2nd generation of cloud, where we come beyond storage, computing, and we're now moving up the stack. So one of the biggest things to bring services together is really to look at 2 areas that it's also sort of like a guidance. One is packaging services into industry solutions to make this more relatable. So providing solutions for contact center modernization out of the box, for guest loyalty rewards, self-service, contactless. So stitching these services together at a higher level so that as a customer, you don't have to build it all yourself. You still can do. And the second piece is really to bring in partners who have the expertise and who build in the cloud. So when you package it, you make it easier for customers. And I like to say that the 2nd generation of where we are with the cloud is like, imagine you buy a car and you go to the shop and they give you the tires, they give you the door, they give you the windows. Tobias would have no time, right? He's a busy guy, he has to run his hotel, Big Mama is waiting. So that's kind of what we're doing, to bring services together in what we call purpose-built solutions. And I'm happy later to dive into a couple of those examples.
So sorry to interrupt. Do I understand correctly? So basically, if I come to you with a recipe, you'd be the kitchen, or you'd be do you provide the kitchen, and Anthony and Shiji is basically the chef, putting it all together, and I'm the one who has the pleasure to eat it all up.
Yeah. Let me give a quick answer and then hand over to Anthony to provide the partner perspective. I know we're in hospitality, so I love the kitchen, I love the food example. It is that, yes. So think about kitchen is a good example, a very practical example, like in your business. We created what we call a 5x5 matrix. So we looked at the 5 top solution areas and 5 use cases. So 5x5 is 25 that really provide guidance across every possible use case. So you give me one, kitchen. Monitoring the refrigerator temperature is an important thing for several use cases. Waste reduction, sustainability, also the health guidance you have in the kitchen. What we can do is put a sensor in your kitchen with a partner. We provide the data analytics, and then we can add predictive maintenance to it. All of this is available in the cloud. So when you build that in the cloud, you go in, you pull a quick start, the architecture, the partner, and you stitch it together in the cloud, and then you let it run and you pay for what you use. So we could do that basically as a hobby this afternoon, Tobias, and start. Let's do some kitchen monitoring, right? Or contactless guest experience. let's add an Alexa voice control in the rooms for guests who want it, right? So that's kind of how it works. So you're absolutely right. We're sort of like your make line to stay in the restaurant business and provide all the services. And if you want guidance, we have that as well.
Anthony, is it that easy, do you find? Just throwing it all together?
The kitchen and the hardware within the kitchen, the delivery mechanisms to heat, chill, freeze, hold is AWS. So infrastructure as code. We talk about this phrase. Yeah, we have written software which is deployed on AWS to create infrastructure, a delivery mechanism across whatever service we're consuming from AWS. So this is the role. We are the recipes. We are the as the service provider, we're asking Tobias, what would you like to consume? Here is a menu. We have a variety of menus for you to take a look at. What are you interested in consuming? We have the profile menu, we have the CRO menu, we have finance, we have housekeeping, we have mobile, we have kiosk. And this is our role in this, in this analogy of the kitchen. And Tobias is going to say, look, I like to enjoy those items, but I'd like to enjoy them everywhere. How do I consume them across my estate? And then we tap into our approach around the kitchen, which is like, well, our menu is global. It's actually available in every city. There is local inspiration. In Africa, in the Caribbean, there'll be different varieties around the menu, but we create this global menu, we make it available for you to select worldwide for your estate. But you can have different flavors, yeah?
So Tobias,
I can imagine. So with different flavors, you might mean the jurisdictions of different countries that need
brands, countries,
and brands, of course, yes,
geographies, laws. So these kind of like virtual zones where we can capture common desires or common needs. So you all want the protein menu, you all want a vegan menu, you all want this. So that's available everywhere. But, maybe, in, I don't know, in Japan, there is some special tax menu for the Tokyo tax. So, this menu is only available in Tokyo. So we build this, what I wanted to say is we build this menu together collectively with you to satisfy your needs. And then you can consume it, by which, you can add properties in those areas and all of those items or services that we have, more commonly, that we want to share the profile globally, but we want to deliver housekeeping services locally. And these are variables. So this is how the cloud comes to life.
And Anthony, I'm curious to hear from you, Anthony, and Tobias, sitting on the side of the cloud service provider. As you went through this journey, which has now been gone for a while, which is great, and Tobias too, what have you seen, which maybe helps our audience to understand what have been the biggest challenges to move to the cloud? It certainly is not something that as an organization you can do as easily as flip the switch. So I'm really curious to understand what you have seen during your journey as the biggest challenges, and also from a customer perspective, Tobias.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was lucky enough to work at Ruby, for example, where we working together with Shiji Enterprise Platform. That's where I met Anthony, I don't know, 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Can't remember. It was a great inspirational meeting, and we kept up these conversations, and it's always great to speak with you guys. So we were lucky enough with Ruby, and now also with Big Mama Hotels, that for us there's the cloud first approach, we see the biggest advantage in having all the systems in the cloud to be able to serve our team. Everything to basically device agnostically and place independent. Whatever they want to do, they can do from wherever. And that was the most important part for us. Why we stepped into this partnership with Shiji during that time. And yeah, had a lot of discussions and ideas back and forth. For example, there was one idea where we were talking about, hey, why don't we, since we still know since we know the flight number of the guest, and we could easily track the delay or the cancellation of the flight, we might send the guest a message that if he's delayed, his room will still be ready, because apparently this is one of the biggest concerns, that when they arrive after 6 p.m., somebody has at some point told the people in the world, after that your room is gone. We will send out a message and tell them, hey, we know your flight is delayed. It'll be safe and warm and waiting for you. And yeah, having this customer approach is, I think, the most important part of discussing those ideas. Not to think about we as a company we want to have it like this and like that. No, it should be around the customer, and how can we make him feel better? How can we make him feel safe? And how then in turn can we adapt our processes on the other hand? So and that's where I want to come to answer your question, Florian. It's the old saying, if you have a shitty process and you put it into cloud, it's a shitty process in the cloud. Sorry about my words. Yeah, maybe at some point it makes sense to map your processes new, and to think about how can we arrange from an enterprise point of view, and make things differently, maybe even save time, save capacities, which way soever.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point, and I think it helps the audience a lot to look at. You have to architect literally on paper. You have to map your processes, and then because you have everything at your fingertips, it would be. You're not just throwing all the ingredients in the pan and you wait what's happening, right? So you look at the recipe, and talking about recipe, Anthony, what was your experience? And in terms of, because I'm sure we have also partners in the panel, we have customers that talk to partners. What were your 2-3 highlights in terms of challenges or obstacles or experience that you want to share with the audience in terms of when you become cloud first?
Yeah, I mean, having spent a couple of decades with the premise-based application, with a kind of enterprise plugin where messages were sent backwards and forwards and things were aggregated in another database. In the beginning of this project, we had the desire to turn everything upside down and create the enterprise. So the opposite of what had been done historically. So to have this dynamically configured enterprise with configuration microservice talking to all of the connected entities in real time, this was huge, and it required a complete rethink of what had been done historically. And having created the enterprise, we had needs from clients that they have different branded products in different regions, and we should be able to manage these sort of collectively or slightly differently. So the messages go off, yeah. Now, this then led us to those scenarios that what cost savings, the purpose, I guess the point of this call is, and how does this save us all money? So we have one entity to manage and maintain in real time, using the best available skills you have regionally or worldwide, to look after configuration, revenue management, centralized finance. And this, I think, when we look at some of our customers like Ruby in the past, they've been able to consolidate business from single points of control. So this is one area which I think leads to significant savings. So build once, deploy many and multiple times.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Anthony, with deploying it quickly. And Florian, how have you seen that this quick deployment and getting to market directly impacts the customer and their guest journey by having something that can get to market so quickly?
Yeah, let me start with this. I don't want to put you on the spot, Tobias, but you gave me the the runway. You represent such a great example, because if you look at the creative hospitality concept like Big Mama hotels, and those who haven't seen it, I haven't stayed there, so I don't get it. Maybe I get a room for free next time I do some advertising here. But I just looked at the concept, and what they're doing is very similar to what you were asking. Is Big Mama likes to try out a lot of different things, right? They constantly try to improve the guest journey, and now they get their kitchen in the cloud set up. They want to do this from those learnings. So with an infrastructure, the partner applications, their own applications, and everything in the cloud, the number one thing that they can do is to innovate faster, spin up a server, try something out with lower operational overhead. So that's kind of like the formula. Once you're there, then you can start and use your toolbox. So
yeah, maybe sorry to interrupt. I do have a point to make here, because the great thing about our industry is that we actually have our customers in-house. It's not like, that they order at Amazon and you will never hear of them. Of course, yeah, you talk very much with them, but I do have them in-house. I can speak to them. I can ask them, hey, how did you like that process? How did you like the check-in? How did you like our booking engine? I don't know. Or, hey, have a sit down, drink a gin tonic with me, and I want to show you something. We can do live A/B testing, actually. And with this cloud environment, it is easy for me to try things out, to easily plug it in and plug it out, and see what's working and what's not. And I can only encourage our industry to do this more, and maybe also on the other hand to ask hotel tech providers to make this possible, to have some kind of testing period available without the hurdle of a high setup cost or something. That can come maybe at some point, but it allows us to experiment better, to quickly try something out and see if it's working for us. And that's basically what we've been doing at Ruby, and what Big Mama has been doing over years, and what we're actually in the moment trying a lot of new things. And yeah, sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. However, again, going back to the point, you have to set your goals straight. If you know what you want to reach, I don't know, a higher conversion on the booking engine maybe, or a higher review rating from guests, anything that could help you to improve and to monitor during those tests should be clearly stated in advance. Because if you don't have any goals, what then to test, basically?
But Tobias, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about you encouraging those in the industry to take a look at this. Do you find that those in the industry, your peers, understand where the cloud is taking them and just all the potential that it has available to them? I mean, you're on a panel talking about it. You obviously believe in that. Do you find yourself encouraging others and surprising them with what's an option?
I see a lot of more people adopting cloud products, or modern products, if you will, who are either had the necessity of changing things because of the last 2 years when COVID struck our industry the hardest, and we had to move from personal check-ins to virtual check-ins, and suddenly they realized, oh, my legacy product might not be able to help me with that properly. So let's see what else is out there in the market. And slowly but steadily, I think hoteliers already understood that it is important to challenge the status quo at some point. But I can also see that there's still a generation change going on, where maybe rather senior hoteliers don't really have the power or the will to change things anymore, and maybe their children take care of it now, and they see how they interact online with everybody, and they think, yeah, no, it's easy. I don't actually want to stand behind the desk. I want to sit on Bali and sip on a coconut and check who's checking in today. So I think that helps.
Hawaii, Bali. It sounds like you have some destinations in mind.
You can dream.
What I hear, what I really like when you double clicked on the guest journey, Tobias, is you just mentioned something. A lot of the biggest challenges to move to the cloud is not technical. So what we say is, you can do it. You can try and you can fail fast, right? You try something, you fail fast. It's more about people and culture. So you mentioned the senior leadership, the people in the industry that maybe have been in the industry for a while. So it's really to have the leadership team aligned, the organizations to be trained. And the most important thing that we learn from our customers is there's no need to boil the ocean. You don't have to go and say, oh, now we're in the cloud. Now everything needs to work fine. Like how do we manage RevPAR? How do we manage this? How do we manage conversion? It's really to have that organizational change. And there's a lot of training to be needed. And then try it out, but don't try to fix it all at once. So I think that's a great
very good point. Yeah, that's actually what I also see and saw over the last years. Don't try to put it all into place at once. Do it step by step. Have a clear roadmap available for everybody to tell them, hey, yes, it might not work at this very moment, but let's first of all learn how to walk, and then we can start running and maybe some hurdles and so on. But step by step. And really the important part is to also have basically the C-level aligned, and they need to drive this change. And because if you propose something and there might be some champions within the team, in the reservation or revenue team, for example, who want to drive this forward, but then the C-level tells them, well, no, we did this like we always did. Now, please be quiet. This is not how you manage change properly at the moment. So as we can also see, that our business or our industry is losing a lot of very talented people. And that's where also this change management can help to give people within the company some more some job enrichment, to tell them, hey, I've seen you do a very great job within the reservations department, and I see you do have ideas. Why don't you come into our next meeting with Shiji, for example, and tell them what's really disturbing you and what would you like to do to help customers better or guests better. And that's at least how we try to identify those who can make impact. And as we learned with Shiji, they're really grateful for this feedback. And some of those people working on the systems come from the industry. Others might have never seen a hotel from the inside. Well, I know they did, but it still helps to give feedback. And that's maybe something also I want to encourage our fellow hoteliers. Give people feedback. Don't just ramble around with other hoteliers how maybe something is not working right. If you talk to your account specialist or your partner within the industry, it always helps a lot. As far as I've seen, people are grateful for feedback. And if you even have an idea of what else is necessary to do, I've seen a lot of things happening really fast because we mentioned it.
So Anthony, I think, sorry to put you on the spot as well, but Tobias just made a great segue in. How can a partner help? What's the partner responsibility beyond the solution? I mean, we just Tobias talked about the lack of talent, and is there more than just the product for the role of the partner?
Well, and as far as partnerships are concerned, at the beginning of this project 6.5 years ago, we aligned ourselves with 5 different companies to partner us in our decision making, so that we could validate from an industry perspective what we wanted to do was in line, let's say, with the Digital Guest Journey 2025 is a customer in Hong Kong. And we had similar alignments and workshops with some of our hotel friends over in Chicago and in other locations, wherever that might be, in China or in the United States. what sort of we'd learned perhaps from previous couple of decades was having customer forums, alignments, global get-togethers on an annual basis, kept one aligned with reality. So we didn't go off on a pursuit of technology in some sort of sole way. And that remains to be the case today, that we set aside time to work with our key accounts and to understand their needs. Yeah. On the process of change management, since Tobias brought this up, it turns out that this is such a critical element in moving from premise to cloud. The creation of an effective steering committee made up of C-level representatives is actually an essential part of effective change, and not to recreate or repeat the processes and the solution configuration from the past. Where we've seen people not doing that, but inviting a wider audience of 10 or 20 people at the managerial level, you need to be a little bit careful about that. For the cloud, in my opinion, to bring the best value and the greatest cost savings, requires a re-envisioning of what you want that hospitality system to do. Core coding, common coding, generic business rules, similar guest recognition statuses globally, the ability to implement, let's say, a feature that we're working on right now called Prepare My Day, where the application will align your inventory based on what you've sold, do automatic upgrades based on stay patterns, VIP levels, membership levels, etc., and offer this recommendation. For this to be effective on a global scale, we need to have agreed upon core coding. So all of this background aggregate makes sense. And this is where the cloud begins to pay you back in terms of saving money, increasing service, automating workflow and recommendations. This process of change, Tobias described it nicely, but it is nice and it is simple when you have people like Tobias on that C-level sponsorship committee. So super important element is to address this steerco alignment with these partners, with these friends who we're working with on a global industry level. I think that's a valuable and very important part in the partnership model. Yeah, and partners are, for me, the hotel customer at this point. Yeah, as well as yourself, Florian, as another partner in another way. Yeah, from the backbone side.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anthony. And one of the key points you brought up there was about keeping it nice and simple. And I think to use that to pivot into, unfortunately, we're running out of time. And I think really taking a look at and keeping it nice and simple. If I could ask each one of you for a quick 30-second answer and what your opinion is, what do you see the future holding from your perspective in the cloud? Florian, why don't we start off with you?
My pitch is, I want to remind us that it's still early days. It is a lot more to innovate for our customers. And let me back that up with 2 data points. We did a very recent study, and it says that 91%, over 1,000 travel and hospitality leaders we interviewed, indicated that digital cloud transformation is essential for their business, yet only 29% indicated that their business is currently ahead of the curve. So when we look at only 5% probably of global IT spend is in the cloud, we never take the tailwind as a leader for granted. It is earned through customer trust, but there's still a lot of hard work for us, Tobias, Anthony, and all of us to do in the future.
Thanks, Florian. And before I pass it off to you, Tobias, we do have a couple of questions in the Q&A. We'll get to that after this, but everyone who's watching, if you do have any questions, there's a Q&A option. You can post your question in there and we'll hopefully have time to get to that. Tobias, what about you in the 30-second future?
Well, that's not too easy, but let's try. I see a bright future ahead of us, especially when it comes to the part of automation and making life easier for hoteliers. What we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years is, well, in the foreground basically was only the guest journey, basically from check-in to check-out. That's fine. But there are so many processes in the background, back of house, maintenance, ordering things, HR topics that haven't been touched, yes, but have not been brought together in a full view. So I can see a lot of potential here, and to make life even easier also for me and the team running the hotel, so that we can spend the time on whichever island we want to, and see what's happening in the cloud, in the hotel, in whichever destinations we have till then.
Excellent. And Anthony, what about you in the future? 30 seconds.
We will grow broader and wider. We are working on some great topics, rewriting concept so that Spa and Golf will be part of the platform offering, expanding into CRO, multi-hotel, campaign management, task management, staff rostering, workflow leveling, areas that we will offer as an option. Yeah, not everybody will want to choose that option. We have 1,200 APIs. So if somebody wants to work with us, let's say it's a meeting and event vendor or sales and catering, we will offer as much as we can, but we will be equally open so the customer can choose. This is the next 2-3 years of our journey, and we look forward to a wider and a broader global reach offering.
Tobias, do you think that that's the case as well with APIs from the customer perspective, or are you looking for one single provider to solve it all?
Well, I think we have seen in the past what could lead to the point, or where this could lead to when only one provider takes the majority of the cake. So I don't think that helps to increase invention. And I like the approach of having an API available where everybody can develop against. And I mean, we did this in the past together with Shiji and a very cool startup, BookBoost, who basically built a whole new unique messaging service for us at Ruby, and they did this in no time. And I can only imagine what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years when some more people grab this opportunity and go for it. And I think innovation can only be driven with competition, and this competition should be encouraged also from hoteliers' point of view. I don't think, at least from my perspective, it's good to put all eggs in one basket. So I always try to always see and look around what else is out there and what might be helpful. And in the past, it always helps to encourage the partners to do their thing.
Yeah, I think you showcased that very well at Ruby, in your venture with WorkMatrix as well. With your kiosk, with your booking engine, and where you want to go with your guest portal, and that journey is still to be fulfilled totally. You are a great example of consuming the enterprise application with central reservation services, financial services, but not be beholden to that. Yeah, you also went off and did a variety of your own things using the APIs. And it was easy, it was flexible, and it is totally effective in your organization where 85-90% of your guests check in with the kiosk. Yeah, they have no problems whatsoever.
And Florian, as the AWS is that public cloud provider, where do you see that open ecosystem?
As a public cloud, since 2 decades now, I think we're the strongest opponent to allow for innovation at every scale and every size and every corner of the world. And I'm privileged to work with hundreds with thousands of partners like yourselves and others. And I see just innovation comes if we don't make it stop, if we don't hold it captive in legacy systems of the past. So the whole idea of open APIs or making services available is everything that has been foundational to our business. And I give you one quick example so that it's very practical for the audience. Look at the front desk. The front desk is very physical, right? what do you do there? Check in, check out. Behind the scenes, this is one of those very hold captive key IT functions. With the cloud, you can decouple that process as a serverless function. You can run it on every possible device. You run it in a pay-as-per-use, run by millisecond, and you can experiment and go global in minutes. So next time you go to a front desk, I'm a traditionalist. I love the smile at the front desk. But when you think about it in the server that's possibly tucked under there, think about the open model and the chances that you have to transform your business in many, many ways.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I do want to ask, one of the questions that came in from one of our listeners was, how do we leverage mobile technology with that cloud technology in the guest experience? Who wants to take that one?
I'll take that. I mean, we would leverage it at every opportunity in the guest journey, from the booking to the pre-stay communication, to the pre-check-in, to the in-stay survey, to the post-your-own minibar charges, interact with the room service menu, to the departure. Having this mobile guest journey, which connects to different elements of the platform, whatever it may be, from, in our case, different products such as Review Pro or Concept. It's critical to the journey of any guest of, generation slightly younger than me who live on the mobile. Yeah. I've become addicted to the airline check-in mechanism, which is kind of like a little bit of a forerunner to hotels. But the hotels are very close behind now with their apps. So whether it is our app or whether the APIs are supporting a corporate branded loyalty app, it's absolutely essential. But as Florian was saying, we're talking to people who want to remove the front desk because they can, because they'd like to be next to their guests. They'd like to sit with them and have a drink, or they'd like to take them on the walk to the room and have a conversation and complete the formalities wherever they are. So this unanchored, unbounded world of hospitality is already a reality today.
That's a great point, Anthony. Thanks. And the last question we got really, I think, has already been answered, but it was just talking about how that technology can release us from that front desk and change that guest service delivery. I think we've all gotten to that. You were just talking about that, Anthony. So I hope that answers the question that was asked. At this point, we've just about run out of time. I'd like to offer each one of you, not a specific question, but one last 30 seconds to kind of wrap up what you feel is really important about the cloud technology and where you see it going. Anything to add? I've already asked that question. If there's anything last that you'd want to add.
Maybe
I would start by saying it's just the very beginning. We are excited about enhancing our global reach. We're in 3 different continents right now. We'd like to go deeper and further, and we will be driven by the demand of our customers. And that's it.
And if I may add to this, the 2 things that I would like to see and give as a sort of like a recommendation to the audience or industry is reinvent and try to create new lines of business. It's much easier than you think. And secondly, let us unlearn how we've come to think about hospitality. If we want to rebuild it from the ground up, what would it look like, right? So reinvent and redefine, how do we create a hospitality environment in a contactless society, right? Plus adding convenience and service. How do we build digital guest advisors that are as personal as they are automated? So I would encourage us to look at these forward-looking trends. To come to my earlier point, we will continue to provide you the Lego bricks and help customers like Tobias and partners like Anthony to build, innovate, and have a lot of fun and a great experience.
Tobias, last word.
I can only add to that, as I mentioned before, find those champions in your organization who really try things out, who want to try things out, who do have ideas, mention them, challenge your partners, get them to work with you together, ask your customers and test. Yeah, just try it out. It's better to fail than to never do anything.
Thank you very much, Tobias. Thanks to all the panelists. I think it's been a very great conversation today. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out and we can always address those to you directly. But thanks again to all of the panel, and everyone have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
For having us. Thank you.
All right.